My name is Lena Harrow. I'm 28 years old. And what I'm about to tell you is not fiction, it's the truth I wish I could erase from my memory. I recently moved into a century-old brownstone in New York, a place I thought would finally be my quiet escape from everything. It was beautiful, fully restored, and in my budget. But what I didn't know was that this house held something beneath its floorboards. A room that didn't appear on any blueprint, that no previous tenant ever survived long enough to report. And once I stepped inside it, it didn't let me out the same. I'm sharing this story because someone needs to know, before the house finds someone else. Like, share, and subscribe before you forget the layout of your own home. This story is written and edited by Dark Lifeside Diaries. It all started on my third night in the new house. I had just settled into the master bedroom upstairs, unpacked about half the boxes, and was thrilled to finally be alone in a space that felt truly mine. The windows rattled a bit at night from the wind, but that's New York for you, nothing out of the ordinary. It was during one of those nights, around 3:14 a.m., when I first heard the tapping, not knocking, not scratching, tapping, rhythmic, measured, like fingers against wood. I thought it was pipes, maybe old plumbing, but when I walked downstairs, I found something strange. The hallway leading to the laundry room was longer. I don't mean it felt longer, I mean it was. The wall had moved, extended, and at the end of it was a new door. A door I had never seen before, a door that was never there when I moved in. I stared at it for what felt like an hour and finally convinced myself it must have been a maintenance closet or storage space that I somehow overlooked. But when I opened it, there was a staircase leading down, not to the basement. I'd already been to the basement. This was different. The air was colder, older. It smelled like earth. Wet earth and something sweet like rotting flowers. I should have closed the door right there. I should have left the house entirely. But something pulled me, not physically. Just a tug in the back of my head, like curiosity trying to drag my body behind it. So I descended, slowly, carefully. The stairs were wooden, but they didn't creak, not a sound, as if they'd been waiting to be stepped on. When I reached the bottom, I entered a square room. No windows. No light source except an antique chandelier that lit itself when I arrived. The walls were lined with mirrors, but the kind that look warped, old, tarnished. Except these weren't dusty or cracked. They reflected me perfectly, except the reflections didn't move when I did. They stared back. Each version of me completely still. Some with a smile, some with tears, and one with her head tilted, watching me like I was the strange one. And then the door shut behind me, locked, no handle on the inside. My heartbeat thundered. I started to back away until I realized the room had changed. It was wider now, the mirrors were closer, and one had no reflection. I stared into the empty glass, horrified, when suddenly my hand reached out from the other side of the glass and grabbed the frame. The face that followed wasn't mine, but it used to be. Eyes completely black. A jagged smile that spread ear to ear. It spoke in my voice. You moved in. That means I move out. And then she stepped through. Cold rushed over me. My limbs froze. I collapsed. When I woke up, I was back in my bed. Morning sun filtered through the curtains. Everything looked normal. Until I went downstairs and checked the hallway. The door was gone, no signs of it ever existing. I rushed to my laptop, searched the house's blueprints. Nothing. No hidden rooms. No renovations. But when I opened my phone, I found a photo I didn't take me in the mirror room, smiling, wearing different clothes. And behind me, a dozen shadows with wide, hungry eyes. I tried to scream, but no sound came. My reflection in the screen tilted her head and winked, and I realized I never left that room. I was still in it, somewhere, trapped. The version of me walking around now, it wasn't me, it was her. The house let her out, and now she lives my life. And I'm left behind, screaming through glass, unheard, watching, waiting for someone else to find the room that shouldn't exist. Because once it appears for you, it means it's your turn next. The worst part isn't being trapped. It's being forgotten. I don't know how long I've been in this place that looks like my room but feels like a memory loop, familiar yet artificial. Like someone replicated my life from photos and whispers. The bed is here, the dresser, even the dent in the floorboard. By the closet from where I dropped a weight years ago. But nothing breathes. The air doesn't move. The light never changes. And every time I blink, something is different. A frame tilted. A mirror moved. A crack that wasn't there before, like. The room is studying me just as much as I'm trying to make sense of it. But it never speaks, only watches. The only real voice I hear anymore is mine, echoing from the other side of the mirror. She, my replacement, is living my life now. I see it sometimes, flickering like a television behind the glass, her brushing my hair, wearing my clothes, laughing with my friends, crying over my mother's voicemails like she remembers pain. She's good, almost perfect, but not quite, she's off. Her smile lasts too long. Her eyes don't move when her head turns. She mimics my movements from memory, like a puppet playing. A part it practiced 1,000 times, and no one notices. No one ever does. Because the mirror doesn't reflect what we are, it reflects what people expect us to be. And now she's fulfilling expectations I didn't even know I left behind. And me? I'm not alone in here. There are others. They whisper at night. They weep through the glass. Sometimes they bang from the inside of their mirrors, desperate. To be seen, only to be pulled back by the shadows in the corners, the ones that don't step into light, that curl like smoke but make no sound. I once looked into a mirror too long and saw someone else entirely, a man in 1950s clothes, mouth sewn shut, clawing at the edge of his frame as though suffocating. When our eyes met, mine started bleeding, and the room laughed. Not a human. Laugh, the sound of splintering wood and breathing wallpaper. The laugh of something very old. Something that remembers every face it has ever stolen. Began to count the mirrors. 32. That's how many I've found so far. Each one contains a life, a scream, a soul left behind. They stretch down corridors I can't enter. They rearrange every time I turn my head. The reflections speak to each other, not to me. They move when I'm not looking, and sometimes they move in ways that bodies shouldn't move. Backward necks, too many fingers. Lips that split open not. To speak, but to drip. I tried covering them once. I tore down curtains, threw cloth over each one. The room got angry. It roared like a collapsing building. My ears bled. And when I uncovered the mirrors, my reflection was gone. I stared at empty glass for 2 days. Just static light and the sound of my own breath. And when I finally returned, I saw her again, living me better than I ever could. She was hugging my sister, comforting her at my funeral. Her eyes looked sad, but her mouth smiled. And no one saw it. No one questioned it. Because once the mirror replaces you, it cleans up the edges, polishes the cracks, and leaves the original to rot in silence. But I started learning. The mirrors are connected not just to our world, but to each other. I think there's a way out, not by escaping the room, but by becoming the reflection. I've seen others do it. Those who gave up, let the mirror consume them. Their bodies faded into the glass, their minds replaced. I won't fade. I'll fight. If I can anchor myself, if I can force her to slip, to mimic the wrong emotion, to make a mistake, maybe someone will notice. Maybe the mirror will crack, and if it does, I'll be ready. I'll be waiting, watching from the other side, just like she once did to me. Because mirrors don't just reflect. They remember. And this one still remembers me. You think when a place traps you, it wants to cage you, contain you, punish you. But this house, it doesn't want prisoners. It wants actors. It wants you gone, but not empty, replaced, repurposed, rewritten. It's been weeks or maybe years. I don't know anymore. The reflections blur time. Every moment folds into the next like an endless dream where I am both the sleeper and the echo. But I've learned something critical, something I don't think the house meant for me to know. It can't replicate what it doesn't understand. It can copy mannerisms, memories, voice patterns, routines, but not true emotion. And not chaos. That's where its grip begins to fail. That's where I'm pushing back. I began testing her, watching her through the veil of the glass, studying my imposter like a lab rat. She's brilliant, better than I ever was at faking stability. But when she's alone, she does things I never did. She talks to the mirrors even when no one's looking. She peels her skin, not enough to bleed, just to see what's underneath. And sometimes she forgets to breathe. My dog stopped going. Near her, she doesn't understand why. But I do. He smells the rot. He smells me still lingering in the corners of this dimension between mirrors. Still tethered to the original soul, I started, scratching words into the floorboards of this half room, the same phrase again and again. Not me. Not me. Not me, and suddenly the wood began to bleed. Not metaphorically. Real, thick, blackened blood seeped between the cracks. The mirror across from me flickered like an old television, and for the first time since I arrived, the house spoke. Not in a voice, in a chorus. 100,000 voices whispering one sentence. You were never meant to remember. The truth. Hit me then, not everyone in these mirrors was pulled in randomly. Some of us were created by the house. Some of us were born of the mirrors. Some of us were never real to begin with. The thought gutted me. What if I'm the copy? What if I'm the echo and she's the real me? But then I remembered her smile. Too perfect. Too cold. She doesn't flinch at loud sounds. Doesn't cry when she's alone. Doesn't have nightmares. I do dot in the worst part. The more I fight, the more real she becomes. I saw her draw blood once her own, carving her name into her arm just to feel something. She screamed like she was discovering pain for the first time. And in that moment, I saw the mirror behind her begin to crack. Just a hairline fracture, but it was there. That's when I knew. If she can be destabilized, I can. Get out, but getting out doesn't mean leaving. It means switching places. I have to make her doubt herself. Force her to see me. To recognize that the ghost behind the mirror is still her and is coming back. I've started mimicking her now. When she talks, I mouth the words. When she cries, I cry louder. She looks at her reflection longer now, confused, unsettled. Last night she whispered, I feel like I'm being watched. And I smiled because she is. The house is losing control. The mirrors are showing her flashes scenes. That aren't hers. A memory of my first kiss. My mother braiding my hair. My college graduation. None of which she lived. I saw her recoil, scream at her own reflection, throw the mirror across the room. It didn't shatter. It never does. But that scream? It echoed in here. It reached me. That's how I know I'm close. The house doesn't want me to break her. It wants her to forget I exist, so it can finish the overwrite. But I'm not letting that happen. Tonight, I'm going to speak to her directly. I don't know how, maybe through the glass, maybe in her dreams. But I'll remind her who she really is. I'll show her the things only she can know. I'll make her question our place. And when the mirror cracks deep enough, I'll step through. And when I do, she'll take my place dot in this timeless room of faceless echoes, forgotten names, and bleeding memories dot where she belongs, because the house doesn't want to keep you dot it. Wants to become you. Asterisk the moment finally came. Not like I imagined it. There was no thunder, no wind, no flickering of lights or screams from the walls. Just a single deafening silence. A calm so perfect it rang louder than any chaos. The mirror, the what I'd stared at for months, maybe years, began to ripple like glass in a dream. On the other side, she was crying, not fake tears. Not a performance, real fear, real confusion. She had started losing her grip, forgetting how to act like me. She stumbled over phrases I never messed up, cooked meals I'd never eaten, called people by the wrong name. I had succeeded. I had cracked her foundation. And the house was starting to panic. I stood, pressing my palms to the glass, and whispered. Everything I could remember about myself, my first scar, the song I sang when I was sad, the boy who broke my heart when I was 17. Details so intimate that no echo could survive them without splintering. I saw her stagger backward. Her reflection stared back at her in betrayal. Then she screamed, not in rage, but in recognition. You're me, she said. But you were never supposed to come back. The mirror split, hairline at first, then a full fracture down the center like a wound across time dot, and then I ran through the shards, through the veil. It felt like drowning in warm glass. Every memory slicing against me like razors dipped in. Nostalgia. I fell through a tunnel of whispers and weeping, echoes of the other souls the house had stolen, crying out for help, for identity, for revenge. Then silence again. When I opened my eyes, I was in my house, or what looked like it. My living room, my dog, my photo frames. The smell of my lavender candle, but something was wrong. Subtle things. The books on the shelf were alphabetized. I never did that. My dog growled when I approached him. And when I looked in the mirror, she was still there, dot smiling dot, but not from the glass. Behind me, I spun around, but the room was empty. My reflection returned to normal. I laughed nervously, told myself it was trauma. Echoes from the void dot until the knock came. 3 soft raps on the bathroom mirror. From the inside, I didn't go near it that day dot or the next, but the tapping followed me. In every room, every reflection. Not random rhythmic like code, like a countdown. And slowly, I started forgetting things. Tiny at first. Passwords, dates, then my mother's voice. My favorite song, my own handwriting looked unfamiliar. And that's when I knew I hadn't escaped. I had simply switched places again, but this time, not with her, with something else. Dot the house didn't just copy me, dot it made something new. A version of me with a soul made of static. A smile stitched from silence. A mind fed by every girl it had ever consumed. And now, I'm fading. I see her in every reflection. Perfect, polished. Hello dot, she answers the door. Goes to work. Posts on my accounts dot and no one knows. But I do dot because I am still here, somewhere dot watching dot waiting dot, and if you find yourself standing too long in front of your mirror, if you ever blink and see yourself still looking at you, get away dot now dot because she's coming, and next time, it might be your turn to forget who you are. Thanks for staying through every twisted layer of this story. If it made you look twice at your reflection tonight, do the safe thing like share and subscribe before your reflection gets ideas of its own. This story is written and edited by Dark Lifeside Diaries.